Welcome to the Open Mic. We do this because MSPs asked us. They wanted to hear what was new with the platform, what bugs we fixed, and you folks wanted to do a little R&D or rob and duplicate automation ideas from your MSP peers. With that, a couple reminders. I know of approximately 2, 8, 14, 0 MSPs that have succeeded at automation that have never asked a question. In fact, that's like one of my warning signs on whether or not an MSP will succeed with automation. If an MSP comes in and they think they're an expert and they don't ask any questions, they tend to fail. So with that, ask questions, tons of them, until you feel comfortable. You can ask on this call, you can ask in the coop, you can ask in your private channel. It doesn't matter where you ask, just make sure you ask. Other reminders, this is a highly technical call. So if you're an MSP, founder, CEO, or whatever, feel free to listen in. But we tend to have automation engineers or folks that do automation on the side with you join this call to help them out. One last thing, time savings. Make sure you're putting time savings in your workflows, especially if you are an automation person, part-time, full-time, or whatever, because the better your automations, the easier they are to forget. So if you put time savings in, it helps people remember, oh yeah, this thing ran 3,000 times yesterday. And with that, I think I'm done. I'm going to pass it over to George. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Aharon. Okay, guys, let me try this method of presenting. Because now Teams has a nice little button where you can do stuff this way. So everyone's seeing my screen there, okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So we have a special guest here today on Open Mic. We're going to kick off with a little product update, but Daniel, everyone's favorite Canadian, Daniel with an A, is on vacation this week. So we have Mr. Frank Price with us here today, who's our Chief Product Officer, for folks who have not seen or met Frank before. Frank, before you jump into updates, maybe just like a quick intro from yourself. Lots of people are very excited here with what's happening with the product, and I know you lead all the initiatives there. So welcome.
Thanks, George. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good morning to those of you that are here in North America. My background has been in tech and product and engineering for quite a long time, 25 plus years. Definitely been in the MSP space before in cybersecurity side, and just love being at Roost. I've been here since late 24, and Daniel's been a great team member and took a break from building product to go work on building his new home with his wife. They bought a house in Canada, so he took a week off to tend to that. Good to be here for the update.
Awesome. Cool. I'll kick it over for your couple of slides, Frank.
Yeah, so a few things I wanted to cover were the product updates from this past month in July and a little bit of what's on deck. So crates, first of all, they're even smarter now. We're getting them to automatically republish when source templates change. We removed the need for manual form syncing to improve reliability. That's less friction in your automations. On the support access side, an important security feature and just generally a usability feature, you can now manage multiple organizations. So the suborgs will now automatically inherit the support access setting from their parent. So no need to configure this over and over. On the app builder side, we've improved design flexibility with editable components inside dialog and enhanced size options. So some small tweaks there, but hopefully some good size UX wins for you all. And then one of the most important things that we invest in pretty much day in and day out in the product and engineering world is the platform and the engine. So now we've got some improved workflow nudging to make sure stalled executions now auto restart. The most important thing we talk about at Roost is making sure the workflows actually execute. We take that very seriously, and we want to reduce manual intervention and hunting for workflows that are stalled. We want to get them to always queue up and automatically run for you all. And we actually have a lot of good work coming down the road on that as well. We'll talk about it in an upcoming open mic, how we're trying to make sure that we get workflows executing more and more predictably at a higher percentage. Other investments too that are going on, a lot of the AI work I believe you heard about last month is advancing tremendously. So a suite of features that you'll see coming out in late Q3 and Q4. Aharon is very close to that work, guiding the teams along. And then there's some great work on the workflow canvas editor for later this year as well. So we'll talk about that upcoming. But George, you can jump to the next one. So let's talk a little bit about integrations. Another important piece of the work we do here is making sure the footprint of your tech stack is as broad as possible for you to drive great automations from. We launched Crushbank in July. That helps us automate ticket categorization and prioritization. Good win for service desk efficiency. We did some updates to existing integrations, Ninja One, Microsoft CSP, SuperOps, and Acronis. You can see the specifics that were improved there. And we actually have 2 or 3 new integrations coming in early August. That's specifically BVOIP and Leader. And then I jumped over it, but ecosystem improvements as well. We don't just add new integrations and improve the actual calls in the integrations. We actually improve the underlying integration ecosystem, and you can see those additions there as well. But that's it. Back to you, George.
Thanks so much, Frank. Yeah, so lots of good stuff coming out in July there, guys. If any of that is brand new to you, make sure you go and check it out and start taking a look at some of those new features and improvements. Next up, we've got our marketplace update, but everyone's enjoying some well-earned vacation time, and so JP is also on PTO today, so I'm going to cover his marketplace update. So in terms of new creates, as you can see there is a new document BitLocker recovery keys. So for any BitLocker partners out there, be sure to check that out. And then also V2 for both our onboarding and offboarding creates for add Roost form link to both of those creates. So I know onboarding and offboarding is a big piece of the puzzle for a lot of folks using Roost. So be sure to check those out. But July was a big month for bug fixes as well, with over 40 coming in and 2 key enhancements as well. So lots of stuff happening in the marketplace as well. If you're a new partner to Roost, make sure you are checking out the marketplace in the platform, and can instantly get a lot of value there from our pre-built automation. So check that out. Next up, we have Clea with our education update. Clea, over to you.
Hello, baby's daycare is closed this week, so sorry for any screeches in the background. But some updates that we made in July, we launched a technical pre-assessment course. So if you're not sure where to get started beyond the onboarding courses related to setting up your platform, go ahead, check out that course. It'll recommend your next path. Willow will start with automation basics. I'm a little more advanced, so I might proceed with Roost Foundations, but go give that a spin. We've also updated our live training page that is available on the homepage under the home link. And George, you can go to the next slide. Dad to the rescue. The live training is now shorter with some prerequisites. So while we do also have self-paced versions of those courses, worth signing up for the live sessions. They run a little bit differently depending on the audience that shows up. If you can't make it due to time zone differences, sign up anyway and email us for the recording. I think it's always good to explore new nuances when it comes to those Roost Foundations and clean automation sessions. We've also enhanced our onboarding courses, specifically added videos to demonstrate popular integrations like Halo PSA, Ninja RMM, New videos for the Microsoft Bundle integration. They were rated by some of our staff as the best videos that Roost has ever made. So go check them out, especially if you've been struggling with your Microsoft integrations, and let us know what you think. And we're working on 2 more videos today, actually. One on modifying crates safely and one on the user offboarding crate demonstration. We've also tweaked some enrollment situations. So for example, if you take the Roost Foundation's certification exam or the clean automation one and you don't pass right away, you will get re-enrolled. It's not exactly 24 hours later. It may be up to 26, depending on batching. So one of those details that like probably no one will notice, but one person did email us and was like, hey, it's been 24 hours. Where's my new attempt? So just setting expectations there. And the last thing that I want to shout out before I turn it back to George is not on this slide, but a huge shout out to Reiner. He was the customer winner of our Simple Automation contest. I loved looking at his workflow, especially because it was in Dutch and I don't speak that language yet. So it was super interesting just to see what he pieced together. And I know he'll be doing a demo for us today. That is it, George. And let us know if anyone has Cluck University questions.
Thanks, Clea. Yeah, as Lewis is mentioning in the chat, we're seeing a significant correlation between folks who are taking, in particular, their certification courses and them excelling in Roost. I would also highlight, as Aharon mentioned, like this is more of a technical call, but for some of your broader team members, I really encourage you guys to get them into CluckU and even take some of those intro courses that Clea mentioned, particularly things like automation basics, right? Like you guys who are in Roost, who are building automations, you know the things that are super manual and that suck in your day-to-day business that you want to improve. But you have other team members, whether it's people in marketing, sales, finance, operations, and until you speak to them, you might not know what their day-to-day problems or manual efforts are. But then sometimes it can be a bit of a troublesome conversation trying to understand, 1, what those issues are, and then 2, how you can automate them. By pushing them towards, say, for example, even just automation basics that can cover simple concepts like what JSON is, what an API is, like the real building blocks, you're equipping them to be able to communicate their needs better to you, and kind of help really encourage this culture of automation that we talk about at Roost. So if you have other staff that are like, oh, Elliot, Brent, like what can we automate? And they haven't taken that course, direct them there first so they can at least learn a little bit more about automation and you can have more conducive conversations. So yeah, we're getting a lot of great feedback on all the videos that education is hammering out. So great job, Clea and the team. Quick couple of updates from me, one from the past, one for the future. If you were not able to join us live at Flow and you got a little bit of FOMO and you realized that, hey, Aharon's keynote seemed pretty cool, it is now available on YouTube. So I will drop that link into the chat momentarily so you can go and see his talk on the rise of the intelligent MSP automation platform. It's a great keynote all about how AI is on the tip of everyone's tongue at the minute, but how Roost is going to begin to incorporate that in our platform to help accelerate automations for MSP. So if you haven't seen that, highly recommend checking that out. And then our webinar this month is in partnership with Halo. So we know Halo is a UK-based company. There's a lot of folks out in UK and Europe that are leveraging this PSA platform. And so on August 21st, we have a dedicated webinar where we're going to dive into some of the automations and integrations we have set up there. So things for reducing error, improving your ticket updates, all of that good stuff. So if you're a Halo user or even thinking about using Halo, that might be a webinar you definitely want to check out. And last but not least, general community update. If you weren't on our open mic last week or you haven't been on Discord this week, you may have seen or missed, I should say, that tomorrow is actually International Cat Day. Now, internally at Roost, we have some employee engagement activities that we love to run with our staff. So we had a great event for Star Wars Day earlier this year. It was also International Mac and Cheese Day earlier this year, where we had some fun with that. But for International Cat Day, we're keeping it fairly simple. We have a lot of cat people that work at Roost. You can probably tell by the number of meows that happen at some of the end of our calls. And so it's pretty simple. We're just asking people to share a photo of their cat. It can be silly, sassy, or sweet, but AI images will not be considered. Okay, so if you have a cat, feel free to post it in Discord, in the coop, tag myself just so I get notified and see it. And the picture that gets the most heart eyes cat emoji, as per voted by our community, will get some rare Roost swag sent to them. So make sure you do that later today or first thing tomorrow, because we will be announcing the winner of that community competition tomorrow on our weekly open mic. So yeah, we all have cats. Share some cat photos. But with that, I'm going to stop sharing slides and we are going to kick it over to the reason we're here, for some awesome community demos. So we have some great demos with partners on the call today with Ryanair, Lyndon, and Brent. We're going to start off though with Ryanair as the winner of our little competition last month, who's kind of got a nice short sweet demo to share with us today. Ryanair, how are you?
Hi, good morning for you, I guess. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
We
Good
are already been over
afternoon.
there. So as you guys said, it's a sweet and simple workflow, so there's not that much to show. Just give me a moment and I'll pull it up. That one. We made a form for whenever we have like a new customer. When we're done onboarding or starting onboarding, we will send a welcome email to like every single employee of the customer, and we use Roost to send that email. Basically, the consultant can pick the organization from a drop-down and fill in their first name, and then the email will get sent to all the employees of the customer with a default template that we've made in Roost. So this is basically the workflow. We grab the organizations. I'm not entirely sure why, but then we get all the user mailboxes. We exclude all the shared mailboxes, and then we grab the user list for the first name of the employee. And after that, we will use the graph to send the email template to the user with some variables in it. I was actually hoping for the button to open the template, but I guess it sometimes disappears. But yeah, that's basically everything it does. For a bigger client, we would probably want to replace the graph send email for like some SMTP service. But while it's a smaller client, we can use the graph no problem. And that's basically it. Any questions?
I just have one question, Ryder, just on the use of forms. This is something that we're seeing more and more people use. It seems like a really good way to pass agency and ownership over to clients. Are you guys at your MSP using a lot of forms, and is that helping kind of change the behavior of some of your partners?
Well, this form is just for our technicians. We don't really have any forms that we do share like the onboarding or offboarding form with some customers, but mostly it's just the technicians that fills them in.
Gotcha. Okay, well, very cool. And yeah, thanks for submitting this. This was part of our competition. That the whole idea was that we were submitting short, sweet workflows. So thanks for sharing this, and congratulations on being the winner of that competition earlier this summer.
Yeah, thanks. And I also had like one more thing that I'd like to show.
Yeah, please.
We also made like an app builder page to show all the Roost organization variables. So on this page, you can search for all the variables that the customer has, and it will find them. And we can also just display whichever variable we want so it's like very dynamic in that way. So we can show it. And for like the integrations, that's like the key thing. We can list like which organizations on the integration side are not linked to a Roost organization yet. So if we had like an organization in Kevlar that's not linked to a Roost organization, it would like show here like company A doesn't have a link to a Roost organization yet. And at the same time, we also have Roost orgs that are not linked to an integration yet either. And we basically did that for all the integrations that matter. And this gives it a pretty nice overview, so we know which organizations are missing and which organizations are missing an integration. And just to show how it works in the workflow, when you go to the app builder page, it kicks off this workflow. Basically, for every integration, it kicks off list companies and puts it in the output towards the integration page. And in the integration page, we use Jinja to form this all together. Are there any questions about this?
Going once, going twice.
I guess not.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Ryan, for sharing. Appreciate that. And yeah, cool to see what you're doing in App Builder as well.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, next up we have Lyndon Payne, who I believe is going to show us something around forum permissions for users. But Lyndon, I believe this is your first time kind of presenting on Open Mic, so maybe we'll start with a little bit of background of who you are, where you're from, and how you got started in Roost.
Yeah, that's not a problem. My name's Lyndon. I work for a company called SilverCloud up in Scotland. A couple of my other colleagues are in the chat and in this open mic as well. In terms of how long I've been doing Roost, it's been a bit on and off for the past year, but I've been kind of getting quite heavily into it in the past wee while. And one of the major things that we decided we needed was some form of control on the forums, just as there's no conditional access at the moment, just to make sure that we can actually roll these out to internal staff who aren't technical and also any other customers, so that if we can have forums of different levels rather than just this forum is only technical, so we can integrate all these other systems without anyone actually having access they're not supposed to, because nobody wants to give the keys to the kingdom to the random salesman that joined a week ago.
It's always
something like
it's
that.
always those pesky sales guys, isn't it, Lyndon? So we've got you guys are at SilverCloud are using a lot of forums to trigger some of your automations as well, and you're essentially looking to kind of have a bit more granular control and permissions over how those are accessed and used. Yeah,
so at the moment we still are fairly early on a lot of our automations. Our service desk has been using the onboarding and offboarding for the users for quite a while at this point, but we've just been, at the moment, we're quite heavily getting focused as a business on automation, so we're building out forms for various different things. I'm currently in the middle of working on just a one and done kind of level form for just creating all of the systems that we use that we are able to, and then just putting out exactly what you need to do into the ticket for the ones that we can't actually make at the moment. But that's a work in progress, so I shan't show that today.
Got it. All right. Well, let's share your screen and let's learn more about what you built.
So I'll show this one. So to start off with, this is just the template that we've built up, just so that we can copy the template going forward for any of them. So you'll notice, click on there, it should go away, see if I'm allowed to use the form. In this one, it should come back that I'm allowed to. Removes the check for the allowed to use the form and brings up the rest of the fields. Just to show what it looks like if I was to set it to test, which wouldn't, returns blank, not allowed to use the form, and just advises the users contact the sysadmin, the system administration team. They'll be able to get you access if you believe you're supposed to have access, and it stops you from actually being able to see any of the information on the forum, just meaning that you can't pull information on the list of users, the list of groups, anything like that, just in case a bad actor somehow managed to get access to something that they weren't supposed to have access to. So it just completely locks out access to the forum if they don't have the permission to actually see what's going on the forum. The start of this process is just literally a get all of the Microsoft, list all of the groups within Microsoft, and then looks at 3 different groups, pulls all of the users, then jumps down a level within that. So takes the list of users for, say, silver privileged users, and outputs the JSON down a level, and it then inputs the variable into an organization variable using commas to join it, so that I can show, I believe it is this one here, as an example. So if it's blank, it comes up as 2 commas, meaning you won't get any errors for if there's a blank, because it's always going to have 2 commas within it. And if you've got all of them, it shows up as a full list of all of the names. This is set up so that it's a webhook to any time there's an update to any group, it will pull it just to make sure it's always syncing with the latest updates and all of that. So if anyone's removed, it'll resync everyone. If anyone's added, it'll resync everyone to make sure it's all going like that correctly. As I was saying, the live editor, this is the actual workflow that we've got that looks at all of those groups. So it's all no ops and just logical based. So as an example for basic, all it does is just goes find the username of the user within these lists. If they're not in it, it's not true. So follow the false statement, returns false, and will stop anything getting through there. So that's how we lock down the forms. And also the benefit of this is the way we set this up, we are able to then also add this into the workflow as a secondary check, just in case somehow they manage to get through, they submit the form without fully accessing the form. Don't know if it is 100% possible. Some people in the COOP thought it might be through F12, so just as an extra security feature, that's in there. It rechecks it just because it's a fairly quick check. If it fails, straight out into an always fail to stop anything actually getting executed, and if allowed, we'll go through the rest of the workflow without any issues for it. So yeah, that is what we've been working on. That was, well, what I've been working on. That was during Roost Flow that I was heavily getting into that for all of that, but just thought I'd show a little bit of it off at the moment and see if anyone else might A, have any ideas on ways it can be improved, or B, hopefully take something away from it.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for sharing, Lyndon, and kudos to you as well for hopping on and presenting on your first EU Open Mic. So box ticked, great job. Anyone have any questions for Lyndon on that particular automation? Feel free to ask it now or drop it in the chat. Just while we give folks some time there for those questions that come in. Lyndon, you mentioned kind of like stuff in the COOP. For anyone that again, new partners or that's watching this in the future, you know, Discord is such a big part of what we're doing here at Roost. As Aharon mentioned at the beginning of the call, you know, 0 MSPs have been successful without asking questions. How have you and even some of the other folks on the call at SilverCloud, how have you guys found the Discord community, and any tips or tricks or particular things you like in there that are benefiting you when you're building?
As a definite, I have asked the Rock a lot of questions over my time. They probably, I would say they're sick of me by this point, but I don't think I ask enough to be quite sick of me yet. Personally, I have been using the Roosty Ginger Ninja quite a bit at this point, just to help with a lot of my Ginger operations, to avoid having to go to the Rock with every little, oh, my syntax failed here, why did it fail here? So that has helped flesh out a lot of it, but obviously with the Rock has been a lot of help to me over the period, and beyond that, there are a lot of good ideas and a lot of especially Ginger snippets that I've seen in the COOP that I searched through the COOP just looking for rough ideas or snippets of Ginger that might have been used from someone else could have been a while back. It could have been a year ago, but nobody's talked about it since. So it's just always good to look back sometimes, see what there is. And I have managed to pull a couple of things that have helped me from quite old discussions on the Discord that have helped me with working on things at the moment.
Lyndon, for those that don't know, what is the Roosty Ginger Ninja?
So the Roosty Ginger Ninja is a ChatGPT plugin that, while it's not perfect, because nothing in AI is quite perfect, it is really good for helping you. I'm actually going to open another window if you give me a second.
I think your colleague Ashley George posted it on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yeah, she did. I think it's in our doc site as well. There's Elliot's posted it in the chat as well. Yeah.
So we nicked it.
No, it's great. It's perfect.
It is one of the most useful tools that we have, that I would say we have, just because obviously I would be inundating the rock every 10 minutes with one thing or another of, oh, would this idea work here? Which is quite good for just bouncing a rough idea of a bit of ginger off of and then reworking it. So the comma set values that that I was using for the variables was actually set up by the Roosty Ginger Ninja plugin, just because of the fact that obviously variables can't store lists, so I needed a way to convert it into something that could be read as a list while as a text format. So that helped me a lot with getting little bits like that, which were kind of weird scenarios which wouldn't come up too often, I don't think, hopefully. But yeah, that is a lifesaver for a lot of, I need to do this thing in about 10 minutes. There's the ginger. Check it out.
Exactly. No, and so if that's kind of news to anyone, the link's in the chat there. Feel free to check it out. It's a really good resource for kind of bouncing ideas off, as well as obviously leveraging the Rock team as well. So triangulate your learning efforts to accelerate those automations. Thanks again, Lyndon. We're going to move on to our final demo of today before having some open Q&A at the end, but we're going to kick it over to Brent and Chantel over at Cloudbox Tech. Brent, not your first time presenting, I know, but maybe just for folks who are joining for the first time, a quick who you are, where you're from.
Cool, thank you, George. So it's Brent from Cloudbox, and who we are, we're an MCP, mainly work with the hedge fund industry, and so from that sort of history from us is that we asked Roost to lock our account down so they couldn't get access to who our client base was, just from a privacy and security side. So we did that, and we ended up cutting ourselves out from a lot of functionality, crates and calling child flows. And then Roost came along and put in the lockbox functionality. So we came back on board, but what was nice is by being outside of that enclave for about 6 months, we built up our knowledge, not having access to crates and how things are done. And so we see things slightly differently out of the box thinking. Which is quite nice.
So you guys definitely had a more unique journey, but I think we can agree as well that's definitely equipped you guys with like you say, just a different perspective, or maybe even kind of learning philosophy when it comes to building automation. So what's the workflow you're going to share with us today, and maybe tell us a little bit of a story around like the rationale and the purpose before we hop onto the canvas.
Great. So as you guys mentioned a bit earlier about certification and making a client, Chantal and I, we went on we wanted to do the Microsoft SE300s, Microsoft Security and Identity Management, and it's quite a hard exam. It's about Microsoft security, and so like Microsoft, they have a practice assessment you can do. And it's nice and mobile friendly, and you can just like choose an option and carry on, and it tells you your answer, but it's very randomized. So I thought, well, hold on, Roost has got this app platform. Let's try to do this. Let's see if we can bring in these questions, but put it into Roost to help us with learning for that exam, and yeah, So that was our first the first one on the app platform. I'll step you through, and on a high level, our second one is every day in our team, our automation team. There's 5 of us. We have a daily stand-up, and it's a bit of a ritual in the morning, and we have a question of the day, and it's always like, what order are we going to go in? And so Chantal stepped in and made also an app where you spin the wheel and it randomly chooses one, a question of the day every day, and then secondly, who that person's going to start off with. So let's kick that off. Let me share my screen. So the first app, which was the study one, is I named it The Beast because the exam was, in my mind, like the beast of an exam. And we live I'm in South Africa, so we in Africa, so I thought, well, let's go with that chain. So this is from the app side. Here's an example of the Beast. This is mobile friendly, so you'll notice everything is very much left aligned. And the purpose of this is so that you can be anywhere and you can access the questions and you can drop in the answer. Also, what's quite nice, it's dynamic in that it resizes itself for your mobile phone. So in this scenario here, we've got a question, we've got some answers here, and I'm going to put in what I think it is. Okay, I think it's going to be A. And what's quite nice is I've got two drop downs. One, show me the money, and that's in short for what is the answer really? Oh, I was wrong. It's B, and it's got a reason of what the real answer is. Why is it B? And then the second drop down is my statistics. Like if I've been in Microsoft, they give you 50 questions to answer, and at the end you get to see, well, you got 70%, and the passing mark you need to get is 80%. So this one here, this goes along and it continues its trend, and it keeps you with what mark you got and how many questions it was. So it just gives you an idea. Okay, this is where I'm at. So I used so if we go into the next question, notice it pops up another page. Purely from it all comes down to the amount of time it takes to load. So with the app builder, I found that I want to keep it down to under 5 seconds to load a question. And you notice with the previous one, it also brought in an image as well. And that's all just in HTML. And what's quite nice is you'll see that it's similar, but slightly different. I've got 6 questions now, and my mark's slightly down. But the last item here, this button, I've been ambushed. Rescue me. This is purely okay. I've started the session, and I've gone away. I've come back. Maybe I want to just reset my marks back down to 0. It's a pure reset. And now you start a new session. All of this information we stored in the backend SQL database, and the key bit again I go back to is the amount of time it takes to load. So what I found was that with the app builder, we needed it on the elements that we had put in. So these are all the elements we've got. We've got an HTML container and a customized answer HTML container here for putting in the answer. And what it does is it in the background it's already randomly chosen what the next question is going to be, because in the app builder it goes through by a page workflow. So I wanted to keep this workflow as lean and mean as possible, so that it would keep the time down. So what's happening here is the show me the money section. It's got my answer to show. It's got the answer details. These are stored inside a SQL database. And then the stats are these are inside also a table. What's quite nice is I thought, well, hold on. This is quite a lot of data to bring in. And if it's quite time sensitive, I don't want to wait 16 seconds for every question to load. I know with Microsoft exams, I had to look at prefetches, all of them at the same time. And the app builder, I haven't learned about the prefetching effects and that yet. But so what I did was we used completion handlers for some of these workflows to load, so that we kept it down to a single workflow, which, as you can see here, this is the page workflow, and it really starts here. It's just get the questions from SQL, and then it's got your result percentage from there. The main bit here is getting this total number of questions. It's a randomized number out of the questions that you have gotten that you have not done yet. So that all happens inside here. Thank you, ChatGPT, for generating half of the SQL. I can't lay claim to this, and it really provides a new ID for that. But what you'll notice here is it does have a completion handler for inserting the answer. So the time it doesn't wait to insert the answer while it goes on to the next question. That's all done in the background. So one item I didn't quite get right, I didn't spend the time on, is when I clicked on next, it would always open. For me to be able to make it fully refresh, I had to open it up in a new tab. I know that the button exists there, but that you can link it to a URL, but it doesn't allow for Ginger code. And you'll notice what I've done here is I've put in parameters. So I've said question that we want. So that's the future question. It already knows. What answer did I choose previously? And then for the third one, what are we on? So having those 3 bits of information, it's able to put it into the database in the right different tables and run those workflows. I don't want to go too deep into it. So this is the high level version of how it works. And I'm happy to say that what's nice is Chantal and I, about 5 days before we wrote the exam, we were tracking 85 on our mark. You see it's been reset to naught. And on the exam, we both got 83%. So technically, if we follow the trends on what this exam, how this works, it will give us a good idea of, before we write the exam, if we're going to pass or fail. So that was really fun, and we've started implementing this for our next one, which is AI 102. So yeah, that's the beast. I don't know if anyone has any questions for that, but otherwise I'm happy to pop across onto our question of the day.
That's very, very impressive, Brent. Yeah, and again, now that you've kind of got those cornerstones in place, I'm assuming maybe you can leverage some of what you've built for other pieces of content or courses. Yes. Now that you've got some of the logic in there, so that's very, very cool. Really, really awesome to see. Yeah, how you've leveraged Roost and App Builder to create the beast. But I'll keep an eye on the chat for questions for you. There's nothing coming in a minute, so yeah, let's hop across to question of the day. Maybe this is something we at Roost can R&D for our stand-ups as well.
All right, so for the question of the day, this is Chantal's baby. So it's really great. What it does is as you log in, it first asks you, well, it looks at your calendar really, and it goes, well, which meeting are we going to be doing it for? And so I've got 3 happening today, and today one is my daily stand-up. So let's kick that off for our daily stand-up. And it's busy loading. Now, what you'll notice here, this is what I've mentioned with the beast, is the amount of time for the page to load. That was about 6 seconds there. So that's we always look at the time. So over here we've got our question of the day. It's come from a back end. I think we must. I'm not sure, Chantal, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think we may have got our questions from a dump of ChatGPT questions, and then we just put it into a SQL backend. About half. So it will choose a different question every day, and then we've got the lovely spin the wheel button, and that will choose who's going to be first off answering question of the day, and then we go through what we actually did that day for our coding side. yeah, so it is a lot of fun. It does keep things real for randomizing who goes next, who's going to be talking. And what's nice is also having it on that calendar side is it literally, it'll choose all the participants from that entry. I mean, I think if I go to this virtual Thursday, this is, I think, the whole company. There are a lot of people inside there. I'm not going to click on that, but why not? Why not?
You can.
This is,
It's gonna
I
be
don't know.
quite
This will
chaotic,
work.
but
It's
it'll
gonna
be there.
be crazy. There's a lot of people in here. Let's have a look. There you go. Hey. Wow. So you can. It's dynamic, which is nice. I like, and that's what I like with these kind of things. So if we just dig into the surface, sorry, Microsoft Teams and sharing always doesn't play nicely. Let's have a look at this. Right, I've opened up a couple of here. Right, so to start off with, the calendar item in this in the app builder, it's an HTML container, and we've got it over here. Here's our HTML, and really it's pulling in from the display name. What medium are we doing? It goes into the calendar entry. There is a work again. We're using the page builds workflow. Get the calendar entries. I have that open here. Get the calendar entries. So it's quite a simple one. Get these by email, and that of course comes from that event, and then we get all the calendar entries for that. So for this item here, it populates the different calendar entries for that day. And then that's how that's selected. The second step, which we saw, was the spinning wheel, and that gets created also in a HTML container. And this one, Chantal, builds out quite nicely here. All the core logic is happening down at the bottom here, and it's got the attendees. It's got different colors for that, and it's making up. It's drawing the different elements out of that HTML. We do have another page workflow again. And it's getting the question of the day, so that's going to return the CTX just for the context. It's this get question of the day. So we've got our get questions. I think here's our secret code here for our which question we get. It's getting. We're selecting a question from it. So it's being pre-done by per day. We've got a question for you, and then that's.
And Brent, is that just an existing question database that you're just pulling a random one from?
It is it's a as Chantal mentioned, she said it was half from ChatGPT and half ours. So half of our own what we came up with, and another half of what ChatGPT decided would be a good idea for question of the day for our automation team.
I love it. That's such a cool way to highlight in a fun, whimsical way some of the things you can do with automation. I mean, again, kind of to what I was alluding to earlier with having other staff take automation basics. Sometimes it's really hard for people that just aren't in IT to begin to wrap their head around what's possible with automation. I feel like that's a really good intro to be like, look, we've built this question of the day. If you want to have questions, you can add to this database here. It's going to randomly select and away you go, and just kind of pique their interest a little bit. Because if you come to someone with, offboarding and they're in marketing, that's maybe not as interesting to them. But something like this might get their ideas going.
Yeah, the actual the inspiration behind it came from decision fatigue in the morning, needing to spend 5 to 10 minutes getting a question of the day every morning, even though it was my idea, put my hand up to do that. But our philosophy is if you do it more than 3 times, you automate it. So that's exactly what we do.
Love that. And that's a really good point, Chantal. Sometimes everyone has their good good ideas or best interests at heart for employee engagement and fun things like this, but it can become a bit of a burden once you have to do it the fourth time or third week in a row, right? So yeah, great idea for an awesome automation. Thanks so much for sharing, guys. Does anyone have any questions on the call, either about the beast or the question of the day automations we saw there? I loved it. I thought that's very cool. We got a bit of a buzz going on here at Roost about that because we also have a daily stand-up. It is definitely not boring. I'll share that with you guys. Our morning stand-up is always entertaining, but I think that's all I can share publicly on a recorded call. So with that, guys, we have a few minutes left. Is there anyone that wants to take this opportunity in a group of other technical automators to people on this call? Is there something you're working on that you want maybe a tip or some guidance on, or somewhere you're getting stuck? Is there a cool thing that you've just found out recently this week and you're tinkering with? Now is the time to take a minute or two and share. So I'm going to sit in at least a minute of awkward silence until someone wants to break it if they've got something.
I'll actually break the silence on one more thing that we've actually done. We made a expired token monitor. All right, I'm not going to show it now. I don't have anything open, so I won't waste anyone's time with that. So I'll just speak briefly through it. So sometimes we get in situations where the integrations that we've got for like Azure or Microsoft, the tokens expire after a while. Now what we've done is we have a flow that continuously calls specific company or orgs based on that organization. So we use tags for our organizations on what their integration is enabled for. For example, Graph, we'd have Graph enabled. Azure would have Azure enabled. So we retrieve all of the orgs that, and based on tags, split them up, kind of classify them in a sense, and then run them in parallel depending on their integration. That way, if there's a failure on one of the calls, our error handler picks it up and it lets us know, and that way we then know that that integration needs a little bit of attention or there's something funky happening. The way we get around it not spamming us, if there are multiple orgs, or say for example Azure, the API is down, it's happened before, or Graph has hit a API limit, etc., etc. Currently we use a ticket. We've set the ticket to a specific status. Say for example new. If something does happen and the flow fails, we set it to in progress. So when the flow starts running, you check the status of the ticket. Is it actually allowed to run, or has it failed before? If it has failed before, remind you that you need to check this flow or check the specific integration. If not, then run everything again. We've actually picked up about 6 expired tokens in the last 2 weeks, which has helped us a lot in terms of troubleshooting and clients actually coming back to us saying, oh, this form doesn't work. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, automations are never one and done, set it and forget it. So great to have something in place that's kind of keeping an eye for squeaky wheels that might need some grease, so to speak. Cool. Well, if no one has anything else in the last couple of minutes, going once, going twice.
Maybe if I can answer Jack's comment in the chat. So the ticket is actually not the optimal way. I've actually done something different with one of our other requirements, is actually using an org variable to set it to true or false to either run it or don't run it. Because one of our technicians keeps changing the status of my ticket. So we need another way of so we figured out another way of doing that. But yeah, definitely got onto that quite quickly. Thanks, Jack.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again to everyone who demoed today. Really appreciate you guys hopping on the call and sharing all the cool stuff you've been working on. We will see you all again next month in the first week of September. And once again, for anyone on this call, if there is stuff that you would like to show on that call, yeah, please feel free to ping me on Discord or email me, george.smith@roost.com. Or sorry, roost.io. Or if you're chatting with people like Lewis, Jack, Jeffrey, just mention it to them and we will definitely get you guys penciled in. This is what we're here for, to yeah, share all wonderful, cool things we're doing in automation. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to join us. And if you're around, don't forget, we'll see you on Open Mic tomorrow for some more antics, or you can catch the recording that gets emailed out next week. But once again, thanks to everyone in the UK, Europe, and Africa for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday and have a great week. And don't forget to post your cat photos. See you, everyone.